Hi Sarah. You look so stressed. Are you okay?
Alex. I am worried. My company is struggling and I don't know if I qualify for government help anymore.
Don't panic, Sarah. First, let's see where you stand. In Malaysia, you are an SME if you meet certain criteria. First, I will explain what small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, are in Malaysia. In Malaysia, a business is classified as an SME based on either the number of employees or the annual sales turnover. The criteria are different depending on the business sector. For manufacturing and manufacturing-related services, micro-enterprises have less than 5 employees or turnover below RM250,000. Small enterprises have 5 to 50 employees or turnover between RM250,000 and RM10 million. Medium enterprises have 51 to 150 employees or turnover between RM10 million and RM25 million. For services, agriculture, mining, and construction, micro-enterprises have less than 5 employees or turnover below RM200,000. Small enterprises have 5 to 19 employees or turnover up to RM1 million. Medium enterprises have 20 to 50 employees or turnover up to RM5 million. Next, I will discuss the key issues faced by SMEs. Issue 1, Management Skills. Many SME owners rely more on experience rather than formal management training. As a result, without proper record-keeping and planning, the business may remain stagnant and not grow. Issue 2, Marketing Issues. Poor marketing strategies and inconsistent product quality make it difficult for SMEs to attract new customers. This causes businesses to depend heavily on local customers, making them vulnerable if those customers leave. Issue 3, Operational Inefficiencies. SMEs often face low productivity and difficulty in accessing new technology. This leads to low profit margins and insufficient cash flow to invest in better technology. Sarah. Since you run a service business, you are a small enterprise if you have between 5 to 19 employees, or an annual turnover of RM200,000 to RM1 million.
And, if I were in manufacturing?
Then it's 5 to 50 employees or a turnover up to 10 million. Knowing this helps you access the right grants.
But, it's not just about the name. I am facing so many hurdles. The bank rejected my loan, and I cannot keep up with new technology.
You are not alone, Sarah. Many Malaysian SMEs face a 60% failure rate in the first 5 years. The main issues are access to credit, lack of management skills, and marketing struggles.
Exactly. I am just guessing my next move.
Stop guessing. Use investment appraisal. Before you buy that new machinery, look at these 3 things. To address these challenges, SMEs can use investment appraisal techniques. First is payback period, PBP. The payback period measures how quickly the initial investment can be recovered. A project is accepted if the payback period is shorter than or equal to the firm's desired period. Second, net present value. Net present value is the difference between the present value of future cash flows and the initial investment. This method is preferred because it considers the time value of money. Third is internal rate of return. IRR is the rate of return that makes the NPV equal to 0. A project is accepted if the IRR is higher than the firm's required rate of return, or cost of capital. Next, this slide shows the advice and actions that SMEs should take when making investment decisions. First, prioritize NPV. If there is a conflict between NPV and IRR, especially for mutually exclusive projects, the company should always choose the project with the higher NPV. This is because NPV better reflects the actual value created for the firm. Then, consider time value. Although the payback period is useful for assessing liquidity, it ignores cash flows after the payback period. Therefore, it should be used together with NPV or IRR for a more comprehensive analysis. Lastly, include all relevant costs. Investment appraisal should include all relevant costs such as the purchase price, transportation, installation costs, incremental cash flows, and terminal cash flows like salvage value and recovered working capital. Next, we go to investment appraisal. It involves analyzing expected costs and future cash flows to determine whether a project is worthwhile. This decision is important because investment projects usually involve large cash outflows and long-term commitment of resources. Therefore, investment appraisal helps ensure that funds are invested in projects that provide financial benefits to the firm. The company is currently using an old machine that is costly to maintain and less efficient. Management is considering replacing it with a new machine that requires a high initial investment but is expected to generate higher annual cash flows and long-term savings. By evaluating the initial cost, future cash inflows, and overall return, the company can decide whether replacing the machine is financially worthwhile. And now, the company plans to carry out investment appraisal calculations to determine whether replacing the old machine is financially justified. By analyzing the initial outlay, expected annual cash flows, and terminal value, management can evaluate the payback period, net present value, and internal rate of return before making the final decision. First, we look at the initial outlay. The initial outlay represents the total cash outflow at the beginning of the project. It includes the cost of acquiring the asset, installation costs, transportation charges, and other related startup expenses. After considering all these components and tax effects, the total initial investment required for this project is approximately Rm111,840. This amount represents the starting point of the investment and must be recovered through future cash inflows. Next, we analyze the annual cash flows generated by the project. Annual cash flow is calculated by taking operating income and adjusting it for expenses, depreciation, and taxes. The project generates positive cash inflows each year, and these cash flows gradually increase over time. These annual cash inflows are important because they show the project's ability to generate returns and recover the initial investment. At the end of the project's life, we consider the terminal cash flow. Terminal cash flow consists of the salvage value of the asset and any changes in net working capital. In this project, the salvage value of the asset and adjustments to working capital result in a total terminal cash flow of approximately Rm75000. This final cash inflow adds additional value to the project at the end of its operating period. The payback period measures how long it takes for the project to recover its initial outlay using annual cash flows. Based on the cumulative cash inflows, the project is able to recover its initial investment in around 3.27 years. A relatively short payback period indicates lower risk and faster recovery of invested capital. The net present value, or NPV, evaluates the project by discounting future cash flows to their present value using a required rate of return. After discounting all annual and terminal cash flows, the project produces a positive NPV of approximately Rm74044. A positive NPV indicates that the project is expected to add value to the company and is financially acceptable. Finally, we analyze the internal rate of return, or IRR. IRR is the discount rate at which the NPV of the project becomes zero. Based on the calculations, the IRR of this project is approximately 29.18%, which is higher than the required rate of return. This indicates that the project generates a strong return and is attractive from an investment perspective. Based on the results obtained in Part B, it is recommended that Zenlife SDN BHD should replace the old machine. This is because the project generates a positive net present value, NPV, when discounted at the cost of capital of 10%, indicating that the project will add value to the firm. Furthermore, the internal rate of return, IRR, of 29.18% is significantly higher than the required rate of return of 10%, and the payback period of 3.27 years is shorter than the targeted payback period of 4 years. Therefore, the replacement project is financially viable and should be accepted.
Hey, Alex. Thank you for your advice. Appreciate a lot.
My pleasure, Sarah. See you when I see you.